Hello, hythloday. Yeah, I don't think I misspoke because I specifically am leaving this open. Anybody can present their system if they can try to solve this problem, this unsustainable systematic problem, where one node in the network becomes wealthier and wealthier, and the other nodes by a necessity become more and more impoverished. Now, I would say we need more than adjustment. Yes, it's a matter of balance. That's going to be a part of it. But I don't think we can take our system and balance it. If I look at this as, for example, as a software problem, and I was designing a system like this to work. Now, granted, there's a lot of domain knowledge I would need to design the system in detail. Domain knowledge from economics. But I have enough knowledge to see that I don't think this system could work. I mean, a version 2.0, a rebuilding, a new implementation would be necessary. And for my part, for example, I don't think money works right. I think capital as we understand it is part of the problem. I don't know what would solve it. I've spent a lot of time in my life trying to think of commodity-backed currency, for example, maybe currency that's based on commodities like the old gold standard, but instead of that, you register your product as a commodity, whether it's grain or minerals or lumber, and maybe some dollars are backed by this, so it's like your dollar really could be traded for a particular amount of wood or a share of the total national produce. And not that you could necessarily go in like, theoretically you could have with your gold backed money, but more like in practicality, you don't actually do that. You still spend the money. Most people maybe could spend that money not knowing what was backing it. But if there was a crisis in a particular area, people with all their money in wheat, they might suffer from a bad season. Um, I don't know that that specifically would help. I'm just saying it's got to be something like this. We need a new structure. Another problem is that we have a growth-based economic system. Well, what happens when we level off our population, which we have to do? We're going to have a sustainable kind of economy. And really, it's the kind of thing we should be simulating in computers. We should be thinking hard about. We need to break down our moral intuitions, which have become related over time to money as we understand it now. And I think, and that's the system we'll have to try to balance. I think it's going to have to change drastically. Um, though I also think it won't have to be that drastic. I think we can do this with knowledge, having collected our experiences. But other than that, if somebody wants to say, "Oh, free market," the only problem with presenting this laissez-faire idea of a free market economy, because I believe in free markets as a component of an economy, this laissez-faire, just let it go. Of course, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we had a system where there was no government, and people rose up, and and the market anarchist type would say, "Oh yes, but they used force, so you can't use coercion." Well, who's going to stop them? I mean, we know they don't not do that on their own. They had a chance on their own, and they used force. And there's around the world when there's a crisis and a civil war and a stateless situation, it's just fucking havoc. And people definitely, one of the first things they do is develop force. So obviously, we need a system that is intentionally created. And yeah, I have ideas about that, but it seems like it's not even the conversation that we're having. But anyway, thanks for the reply. And if you want to elaborate on how I misspoke, I'm interested in that. But the fact that I spoke in a way that might allow people to propose their free market, fine. Then just what I'm really saying is fine, propose free market, but tell me how it's not going to concentrate wealth into perpetuity. I mean, to me, it's obvious that it will, because there's the force of a bullet to your head, but there's also force if I have some resource that you need. So.